48 leaf set. I try to do that one autographed, and this one I'll cross over. I think it might be, so it has a chance at being the highest graded signed Larry Jensen card. But that said, I always just love the look of it. I remember looking at Jackie Robinson cards as a kid on eBay, and I think everyone can see the benefit of, or the beauty in that set. But it's also the first integrated card set that was, largely distributed, even though it was a regional somewhat release, just because there was a lawsuit from Bowman to shut down production effectively before it really spread across the country. But it was the first time that, black players were included in gum cards or candy cards or, any kind of card. Jackie Robinson, Satchel Paige, Larry Doby. Probably would have been a handful or more if they were able to complete that set. As you may or may not know, 1948 leaf is skip numbered. It doesn't go 71, 72, 73. It jumps all around, and there's only 98 known cards, but the highest number I think is 168. So the belief is maybe they were planning to fill in those gaps, or most of them, with a second series or a third series, I guess. This is a rare one. Bob Swift passed away in the 60s, but he also was the catcher in that famous photo of Eddie Goodell, the little person that Bill Veeck hired to just squat and create a strike zone that was about 2 inches high. He was a catcher in that, gimmick. Cool Father's Day card, signed by the father and son. I bought all these gold refractor Sotos when he was the best player on the team, and then we traded him away. I'm stuck with him. Or we didn't sign him, sorry, we didn't trade him away. That's one of the best page photos on a card. Yeah, I was really excited for him to be a Yankee. One of those reasons why you can't always go for the modern guys. What does it say? Stole home 19 times, nearly 1 in every 10 of his thefts. So he had 190 steals roughly. 10% of the time it was him stealing home. Pretty wild. Jackie's playing days long predated the WAR stat, but over his first 7 seasons, it would have told this story. His 51 WAR were second in MLB to Stan Musial, and a whopping 8.5 more than anyone else. First year in the league, 4. Second year in the league, 5. Third year in the league when he won MVP, 9. 7, 9.7, 8.4, 6.9. Crazy. And he joined when he was 29. So he was in his prime. Those later years, he was taking a toll. We've seen a few cards from this set. I just think it's cool pairings. There's Doby and Jackie, the 2 first black players in each league. Babe Ruth and Roger Maris. There's also a Jackie and Hank Greenberg. Greenberg being one of the first Jewish All-Stars. I don't believe he was the first Jewish player, but certainly one of them, one of the early ones. So, you know, barrier breaker in his own right. This Jeter card, it just makes me happy. I think it's like a $20 card. Look at those smiles. He probably did some type of walk-off, or actually, this might have been when he hit 3,000. Yep, that must have been it, because he hit a home run for his 3,000th hit. He finished, at this point, he's got 3,088. He had 162 that year. So this must have been when he hit 3,000. With an exclamation point. His catches in the outfield have become a legend already. He was 4 years in the league. 5, yeah, this would have been him going into his 5th year in the league. Crazy. You know, like these Duke Snyder had a couple autos that you've probably seen of his in this pile. He was my grandfather's favorite player. My grandfather was a huge Brooklyn Dodgers fan. He grew up outside New York City. So I don't really have any thoughts around Duke. I mean, this is a cool stat. 4th home run in World Series for record 2nd time. This was 1955 when they finally won. But I just feel compelled to have a Duke auto or a couple of them in the collection to, when I see it, or, you know, I got to think about my grandfather, who I don't have a reason to really think about too often. This one I pulled, one of my better pulls. Totally beat the odds on that one. Signed 54 Topps. The first Jackie Robinson signed card I got was a signed 54 Topps. And that is my favorite, you know, piece of my collection is the Jackie signed cards. And if it weren't for a collector of signed 54 Topps, Sal was his name. Sal, I'll hold back his last name, but he ended up having 2 Jackies and then eventually 3 Jackies, and he sold me 2 of them. So I like to see the signed 54s because I think of him. I think about when I got the first Jackie, which is a pretty incredible moment. Unfortunately, that's not in this deck. I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna take my biggest cards out of the vault. I'm really frustrated with PSA, how terrible they are in a number of customer service areas, especially related to their handling of my cards in the vault, which they lost. Didn't tell me about it, and then didn't respond to emails about it for weeks. Until I threatened legal action. And then magically they found them. It still took another 3 weeks to make them accessible to me. But anyways, I do have some really big cards. Great stories about Rube Waddell. If you don't know, there should be a movie about him. You should look up his Wikipedia page. Yes, he passed away at 66. Yeah, my biggest cards, though, I don't know. It just feels risky to have them at home. And I think Chase, my bank, no longer does safe deposit boxes. So I think for now, I'll probably keep them there. I do have a safe here and other forms of protection, but I don't know. It's not even really the robbery thing. It's almost more like house fire or water damage, or just even the peace of mind when you go away from the house for 2 weeks and on vacation or something and not have to worry about it. This is one of my favorite cards in the modern era. His Topps Chrome True Gold 50 out of 50 from the season he created the 50-50 Club. I guess I could put that one there. That'd be a cool one to look at for a little bit. Stan the Man and Albert Pujols. Probably, weirdly, the Cardinals have two of the greatest players of all time who get the least amount of due and appreciation. I mean, Stan's stats are incredible. You heard it on the Jackie card earlier. Pujols, one of the 4 players in history to be above 700 home runs. This is a cool card too. I love this card. But, we just don't talk about those guys in the, best of all time type conversations too often. And they, they have every right to be up there. I loved this set when it came out. I'm surprised it didn't get more traction. It's like picks a key moment from a player's career and then the call. I hope you find this either somewhat entertaining or at least useful. I mean, I know I would love to see other people's collections like this. Jersey numbered. Just to kind of learn what's out there. What cards are interesting and what other people like. And I probably could have done a better job of explaining some of these purchases, but sometimes you just got to let the eye tell you what you like. Okay, maybe I'll spend a second on that one. What does that say? Actually, this is so funny. What year was the rule passed making base runners touch each base? 1864. You have to touch each base. What was the point before that? So he was 32, 33 in his rookie year. You can see he was pretty dominant before that, hitting some of the longest balls of all time in some stadiums. But he was past his prime when he got his chance. It's another cool hustle player. And also a reason to never trust Greg Morris cards. They sold this as a near mint card. And it sold for a near mint price. And then I got it graded, and it was a 3.5. Yeah, there's a Pete Reiser's story, another Wikipedia page worth checking out. He basically ran through the center field wall so many times, chasing down fly balls that put an end to his career, even though he was, I think Casey Stengel, who said it? I forget who, John McGraw? Someone said the only person that paralleled Pete Reiser's potential and talent was Willie Mays. In case you didn't know, I'm going after the 2001 Donruss Elite Aspirations and Status sets. Those are where the cards are jersey numbered to the player's jersey in the status parallel, and then the Aspirations is 100 minus the jersey. A couple years later, and I get these types of cards in my save searches. They show up. They decided to add 101s to the set. It's a cool pairing. Maybe I've seen one other dual sign of this card, but can't even really remember. This parallel is very striking. Third best hitter in baseball. This one I bought raw and got graded at the National. Got a pretty good grade on that. Number to 25. If you're ever looking at a Barry Bonds card and it doesn't have the 3 stickers on the back, it's probably not real. So I would stay away from it. He left the PA, Players Association, and then had his own contracts with most of, all the merchandise, cards, video games, everything related to his brand and likeness. He dealt directly, and that meant that he needed to have specialized authentication, I guess. Which showed up in those 3 stickers. Like, that card would be amazing. This card is still amazing, but it just feels like Reggie is a little out of place. I mean, one of the greatest Yankees of all time, no doubt, but he was not a lifer. And his story, just is not fully written in pinstripes, and that makes me think, could have picked someone else for that. Another cool callback to the 55 World Series when they finally won. Great dual auto. Newcomb not being in the Hall is one of those, right? It's probably just because of timing of when he entered the league, but he came out of the gates like crazy and was one of the most dominant, best players. I guess there's not any stats on that one. Best pitchers in the league, and then just quickly fell off. Oh, this is John Cena's rookie card, by the way. Autographed. Like, man, would I love to have a Jackie Robinson version of this card. And just given Willie was around for so long, I think we just take it for granted that this is the best baseball player of all time. or at least number 2 or 3, depending upon where you put Ruth or Cobb or Bonds or, whoever. But I would say most lists have him as number 1. And we get all these cool like reprint autograph cards, and you can get them for like, that one's like $800. It's another tough auto. He also passed in the 60s. This is a weird one. If you do the research, this is actually print run of 50, but not serial numbered. And so people don't really treat it like this is like an $80 card, but I think it should be worth a lot more. But people just don't realize it. It was numbered to 50, or only 50 were produced, I should say. This is my Dwight card, rookie card from when I was growing up, and it graded a 10. Thought that was kind of cool. My second copy of this, or just maybe his best image on a card, the basket catch. So I wanted to have, I guess, 2. I mean, now that I say that, I'm like, I probably don't need to. Maybe I'll let that go. This is his kanji auto as well, the first Japanese player. I don't know about getting Dick Estelle. I think we might have lost him. Prince Fielder, 25 of 25. Bonds was one of my guys, as you can tell. This is one of those funny ones where I'm collecting the set. This set, 2001 Donruss Elite Status. You see it's die cut, kind of like a S. But then this re-release, basically, 20 years later, showed up, and I thought, it's kind of cool. Numbered to 9, and it was like $70. It felt like it was mispriced. So that's my only Joe Burrow card. This I thought was cool. I got a few of the gold spotlights because they just look good. They're cheap. This one's from 2004. The year they broke the curse. I'm a Yankee fan, but I also grew up in Massachusetts, so I was happy for a lot of my family and friends at the end of the day, I guess. Numbered 10 of 10, PSA 10. Chipper to 10, that's a cool one. That was a nice situation where Chipper Collector I think I don't know if he had 2 or just didn't need it anymore. He was trying to raise, I forget why he decided to let go, but definitely influenced him in letting it go by just, I wanted to go for the set, and he was just supportive of that. He's like, I'd rather you have it than me just throw it up randomly to auction or something. So I had just overpaid for the Cal Ripken to 8, so I kind of had to overpay for that as well. But since then, Ricky Henderson, I think I paid $900 for this. I paid $1,600 for Cal Ripken to 8. I went to Villanova, so Josh Hart. You saw Jalen Brunson earlier. This one, just finished the story here, or just a commentary here. I say I paid $900. Maybe that was overpaid. I think it probably was. But then Frank Thomas to 35, sold for like $1,100 after that, and then Ricky Henderson to 21, sold for like $1,000 after that as well. This one I've sent in twice to PSA. The first time they graded it a PSA 8, and then in the QC process they decided to take it out of the slab and not honor the grade they had just given it because of factory min cut. This set is like horrendous in terms of PSA just doesn't know how to treat it because so many cards were min cut, or min size. Here's another one, Tino Martinez. This one came back in the same order. I had these next to each other, and I think you could we can we line them up and see if this one's, I mean, that looks pretty damn close. Are you kidding me? I think the El Duque is even smaller than this one. I can't tell. Maybe not. I think this one's a little smaller. But yeah, it was in an 8, came out. And I was so frustrated they would do that. Like, who cares? And then I send it back in and they give it a 9. They just don't know what they're doing. Is there anything worth reading here? No. Let's see, how does a 2024 Gold Refractor compare to the Status? I think the Status takes it. The Refractor does have a different type. Like, this feels a little flatter paper. This feels a little bit more depth, maybe. But the color just catches the light so much more on the Status, I think. This is maybe Jeter's favorite, my favorite Jeter image on a card, I think. This is numbered to 63, yep. One of his early numbered cards, for sure. Earliest. Griffey from the same set, also numbered to 63. His only year he won them MVP. And in his follow-through of his iconic swing, I like that image too. J. Will to 99. It's another Griffey in his finishing pose on his swing. This is one of the first sets I remember opening as a kid. I never pulled one of these to 25, but I was happy to pick one up later on. Stan the Man, we talked about him earlier. Bad crease here, and there might be is there a pinhole somewhere? I think it's just probably that crease. But it looks really good for a 1. Oh, maybe that's a pinhole. Doesn't go all the way through. Then another jersey numbered Jeter. I think it's cooler when it's a higher number, like 100 or plus. This was kind of an impulse buy. This is a cool one. Clemente and it's like a 101. And Guerrero. Give me his bat. Bernie throwback. He never had his rookie auto, so they created one similar to that Gibson we saw earlier, where they gave like a scouting report way down the road. Born in the Bronx, cool. It just felt like a silly, cheap buy. I think it was like 20 bucks, 20, 30 bucks, I don't know. To 25, one of the best quarterbacks of his era. This also was very cheap. I think it was like $10, but what a pretty card. I did not know that he hosted SNL. Oh yes, I did. Of course I know that. With Sandler, I think. I just figured I needed something from Topps Chrome Disney, and I saw that. Of course, I had a crush on Hermione as a kid. I think I got this in a lot. I don't even know why that's graded. One of my dad's guys, Mikhail. His signed rookie card. Jersey numbered 03 status. Jim Edmonds. We're almost at the end here. Schmitty. Scott Rowland, 2 Hall of Fame third baseman for the Phils. Jeff Smarja chose baseball over wide receiver. Played both at Notre Dame, but I didn't know he touched 99. He should have been better. Yeah, he was a projected first rounder in football. What does that say? Who holds the record for most home runs in a career consisting of fewer than 3,000 plate appearances? Answer B, 177. That doesn't seem right, because Ryan Howard was only in the league for 3 years at that point. It's not really a career. This is a second-year Bronco, but a good guy in the Jackie Robinson story. This feels like a must in any signed rookie collection. And here's the Bronco rookie card. jersey number 1. See, this is cool. It's numbered to 1,000, but it's 2 to 1,000. I don't know, it just feels more special when there's so many that are not. And you get the one that is. Versus if it's like 2 out of 10, it just feels like easier to find almost. I don't know. This is a weird grouping. I took that in a trade. Makes me smile. I do like jersey cards, but I don't know why they made that. One of the greatest quotes of all time. In his basically his farewell due to ALS, he calls himself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. I'll make you tear up. Okay, I think we just got some oversized and some raw cards left. We'll go through a little faster. Satchel Paige, cut auto. Another Satchel Paige signed here. People always ask me, is he erased there? I just don't see it. I think what was more likely the case is he just was filling out these in advance. It was like from Satchel Paige 2, and then he'd grab this one from the stack and put in something later. But then he didn't do that because then he ended up signing it years later. These are totally different styles of his signature. He said, "Best wishes from Satchel Paige to the family." So dual auto. That postcard also, some believe, was in 1948, which would have been his rookie card. Or rookie postcard. This is a beautiful exhibit. Perfect auto. I mean, that's gorgeous. Nothing on the back. This is another signed. That is a facsimile. That's not a signed. It's not a live signature there, but here is the live signature. And I looked up this guy, Tommy Butt. He was a catcher in New York at the time, and he was like, freshman or sophomore in high school probably. He just must have wrote to Campy and asked for an auto of his favorite catcher. Okay, some quick. This is numbered to 100. Trying to get all of El Duque's best cards. See, there it is, 90 out of 100. This is for my 2019 Sapphire red and blue set, or red and purple set, numbered to 10 or numbered to 5. I have some supers. That's taken forever though. I barely make any progress on that anymore because the cards just don't show up on eBay. More Topps blacks. Flurry of high off-season acquisitions, and this was before this would have been 2009 Topps, so this is when they won finally. I think does it say he wore 27? So yeah, he like wore 27 until they won 27, and then he wore 28. Fortunately, we're still waiting on that. The other manager. Yeah, this is just a run of blacks I got recently. I just went on a little binge. Here's a cool one, Ebbets Field image. All-time leader for the Dodgers. Cool, there's Duke again. But look, what an old-timey image. one of the best duos up in the middle of all time. I think this is the best way to collect the base tops from most years, is through the black parallel, which keeps going up every year as we get that many years away from Topps' initial release. Bernie. Rivera's 500th career save. You know, we saw earlier a career stat line from 2001, Donruss, where he only had like 165 saves at the time. And so the card was numbered to 165. Quite a change down the road. Oh, the dive. He was able to get a Gold Glove because A-Rod sacrificed his and moved to third base. Like, Jeter wins Gold Glove, and he's not even the best shortstop on his team. Jabba and his fighting necklace. That's cool. If they want me to fold towels, I'll fold towels. He says I'll do anything to win on this team. A-Rod. Mo. So we got the black and the gold. This should be to 100, the glossy. Yep. 12 of 100. I gotta get this one graded. Guy broke my heart that year. Getting a hit off Rivera in the World Series. Another one to 100. Fleer tradition. Brian McCann. Just organize this a little bit. Should put all those blacks into top loaders. David Wells, 98 of 100, 98 being the year he threw a perfect game. Andy Pettit, this is a 1 of 1. Best pickoff move, which is true. one of the best of all time. I just didn't realize there was a card for it. It's kind of cool. This is one of my favorite ones, showing the time when he gets signed and he moves to third. Just some random pickups. Steve Gromek, he was on the front page when the Indians won the World Series with Doby, a white man and a black man, celebrating together. Hank Thompson, one of my favorite Negro League stories. I mean, tragic, but human. Maybe I'll do a video on my signed run of his at some point. Pendleton, Gromek. There's a couple more from that 03 Flair Tradition. Glossy to 100. I think we're almost here. These are the last two. Yeah. For my game jersey patch set. Cool. So there's gonna be another 10 boxes. This is 5. So a couple more videos at least. Thanks for watching.